MeMonster.
Chapter 6. As the world began to adapt to dungeons, being a hunter became famous as a lucrative profession. S ranks were on another level, but even B ranks could easily make tens of millions of won a month. C ranks had annual incomes in the hundreds of millions, and even D ranks could earn around 100 million a year. Below that, E ranks and even F ranks with combat aptitude earned more than the average employee at a mid-sized company. Magic stones from dungeons became a new energy source, and the byproducts were used to develop new drugs and useful materials. Additionally, the fusion of magic and science led to the creation of various new technologies. In such a world, Han Yu-hyun, an S-rank hunter, the head of the rapidly growing high-end guild, tall and handsome. Do I even need to elaborate on his popularity? He was only 20 years old, with a bright future ahead of him. Even just one interview with him would send TV ratings through the roof, and magazines with his photos would sell out instantly. If people knew that this guy is also good at cooking, the response would be explosive. I mused to myself while watching Yu-hyun's back as he lifted a pot off the induction stove in the spacious kitchen. I had assumed we'd be dining out when he mentioned having dinner together, but to my surprise, he had cooked the meal himself at home. By the way, Yu-hyun's house was in the upper floors of the high-end guild building. The exact floor was undisclosed for security reasons, but apparently it took up half the floor. It's so ridiculously expensive that you can only get in and out using an exclusive mini portal with no stairs, elevators, or external doors. "I didn't know you were good at cooking," I said, sitting at the dining table and watching him finish up. "I got better out of necessity." "Huh? Why? You've got plenty of money." He had been earning enough to buy anything he wanted and even hire top chefs since he first awakened. Yu-hyun smiled a bit sheepishly at my question and explained. "At first, I didn't have any detoxification or curse-lifting items, so it was just safer to cook my own food. Even now, when I go into dungeons, I bring homemade dried food with me. The inside of a dungeon is the most dangerous place." Detoxification? Curse-lifting? What did I just hear? So what you're saying is that there were people out there poisoning and cursing your food, so you had to cook for yourself? I had no idea. I had always thought of him as just another privileged, successful S-rank awakened. Even after regressing, I'd assumed he'd gone through some hardships, but I never imagined his life had been this much of a battlefield, or that he had been in danger so often. To me, Yu-hyun had always been someone too strong for me to even approach. He was the center of attention from the moment he awakened, always in the spotlight. I only saw the surface, the S-ranked title, and never considered the darker side of his life. Don't look at me like that. It was the result of my own choices. Yu-hyun approached the table with a soft voice. A rough stone gets the hardest hits. A young guy trying to start his own guild among the big, established guilds backed by major corporations was never going to be well received. If I had just joined an established guild and taken a decent position, my life wouldn't have been threatened. He paused, his smile tinged with bitterness. That's why I always felt guilty about our strange relationship. I chose to create my own guild even though I knew that those people might go after my only family. I'm the one who made the decision, so it's my fault that I had to keep you under surveillance, hold you back, and tie you down, all in the name of protecting you. Why didn't you tell me? At first, I didn't want to burden you, and later, I didn't think you'd understand. Honestly, before I regressed, I probably would have just yelled at him to let me live my life or blamed him for everything. But I was completely wrong. You were still thinking of me and worrying about me, just like I was when I was a kid. But I misunderstood you all this time. I'm sorry. Ugh, that hits me right in the conscience. Even after regressing, I just wanted to take it easy and enjoy life. If you say things like that, it makes me feel like a complete jerk. It's not like I did anything great either. You were justifiably frustrated after being interfered with time and again without knowing why. I felt a warm, fuzzy sensation in my chest as I took a bite of the food my brother had prepared. The warmth in my heart grew stronger. Going back in time was the right decision. It was the best decision I'd ever made. I understand your situation, but wasn't what you did today a bit too much? Locking me up like this so I can't even go out? That's going too far. Nothing serious has happened so far. But the moment I asked him to give me a break, Yoo Hyun's expression hardened. No. Why? I'll be careful. I was fine up until this morning. This morning and now are different situations. The only reason you've been safe so far is that I cut off all ties with you. I made sure that my enemies wouldn't see any value in targeting you, because attacking a non-awakened is a serious crime, and I made them think it wasn't worth the risk. His voice grew heavier. But now that I've taken steps to bring you and your residents into the IN Guild, my enemies will start actively targeting you. Just the fact that I brought you into my home will make them begin to keep an eye on you. Then wouldn't it be better if we kept pretending we still were on bad terms? You said it was okay. What? When did I ever agree to this? I don't recall giving permission for a life of confinement. Yoo Hyun replied with a straight face. You apologized and said you loved me. Honestly, it's my fault and my responsibility, but you forgave me for it all. That's practically the same as giving me permission. Wait, that's how you interpreted it? This guy is definitely off.
Don't be ridiculous. I absolutely refuse to live locked up. Just endure it for 3 years. I'll take care of everything by then. Stop smiling while you say something that terrifying. And it's not 3 years, it's 5. 5 years. Damn it, this wasn't the best choice after all. My frustration was building up so much that I felt a throbbing in the back of my neck, but I tried to calm myself with deep breaths. The guy sitting across from me was my brother, yes, but he was also an S-rank awakened. And not just any awakened. He was a guild leader who'd been through all sorts of battles. There was no point in getting emotional with him. I wouldn't even scratch the surface. I couldn't beat him with force, so I had to find a way to resolve this through dialogue. There's no way I can stay locked up for 3 years. I'd get depressed just from being stuck indoors for a month. Even if there are people targeting me, they wouldn't dare try anything in broad daylight. And if it comes to that, I can always have a bodyguard with me. Songhan could accompany me, for example. I'll let you go out occasionally. How occasionally? As soon as I asked, I was hit by a wave of reality. I was negotiating with my younger brother about how often I could go outside, like some kid asking their parents for permission. I'm old enough that even parents wouldn't have much say, yet here I am. It depends on the schedule. When we start tackling dungeons, I won't be able to spare any A ranks to protect you. I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving you in the hands of B ranks either. So, in other words, I'd be free as long as there was an A rank available to guard me. I confidently spoke up. Then if I find an A rank guard of my own, will you let me go out freely? You'll find an A rank guard? That's right. Yushun's eyes, which had held a hint of curiosity, suddenly sharpened. Yushun, you've awakened, haven't you? Huh? How did he know? This guy's intuition is scarily sharp. You were a non-awakened this morning, since you were planning to meet with a broker. When did you awaken? Just before we met? After, that's why you gave up contacting the broker so easily. Your real destination was probably the Hunter Association. No way to argue with that. Might as well set up a fortune-telling booth. Your stat rank must be D or lower. How can you tell? Those with C rank or higher find it hard to control their newly enhanced physical abilities, so they tend to move awkwardly at first, especially if their strength surpasses the B rank average. They end up breaking everything around them for at least a few days until they adjust. Makes sense. Was it the same for you? Yeah, but S ranks seem to adapt more quickly. Everything felt normal after just a day. Of course, if someone's willpower or magic power is unusually high, it might not show even if they're C rank or above. I'm just a plain old F. Your initial skill must be some sort of special ability then. For you to be so confident about bringing in an A rank, it must be something that lets you assess potential awakening ranks or even assist in awakening, or maybe both. At the very least, it's likely C rank. Actually, it's S rank. But there's no point in arguing with him. Judging by the way Yu-hyun's expression shifted from stern to slightly relieved, I decided it would be better to downplay the skill a bit. You're right, it's an awakening-related special ability, and it's C rank. I can help non-awakened people awaken and get a vague sense of their potential rank. How accurate is it? About 50-50. I can generally tell if someone's strong or weak. I couldn't distinguish between you and Songhan, so I assume it divides at around B rank. The more precise check has a cooldown of 30 days per use. If it didn't have that cooldown, it would probably be an A rank skill. Yu-hyun nodded at my explanation, and the shadow on his face seemed to lighten. If it's only that, then even if it gets exposed, it won't make you much of a target. Being able to preemptively identify B ranks or higher is useful, but with such a long cooldown, and with the awakening centers coming soon, it won't be that valuable. Even if you could find A ranks or S ranks, there's no guarantee they'd sign with you. Awakening centers? I feigned ignorance. The general mechanics of awakening have been figured out. Construction of the centers will start soon. The association's goal is to allow anyone to awaken safely within 6 months. The upper ranks of the guilds have already been informed and are investing in the project. I've contributed a bit myself. That's impressive. The number of awakened people will increase dramatically. The official announcement will be in 4 months, so don't go around talking about it. Will you let me meet people to talk to? He responded with a smile instead of words. Seriously? Why not just lock me up in solitary confinement? Anyway, I'll find an A rank to protect me, so just give me a chance. With a 30-day cooldown, that won't be easy. A ranks aren't exactly common. But it won't take 3 years, right? If I'm lucky, I could find one right away. Luck? Who needs luck? I already know who the A ranks are. After a moment of contemplation, Yu-hyun spoke. All right, if you really do secure a contract with an A rank, I won't try to overprotect you anymore. But they must be specialized in combat or defense. Finally, I got his permission. Damn it, this stubborn little brother of mine. He added a condition, but it wasn't a problem since Park Yerim was a renowned combat mage. The real problem is the keyword. Damn it!
Chapter 7. Before going to find Park Yerim, I headed to the Hunter Association to register as an awakened and purchase a contract item. Korean Hunter Association. It started as an awakened registration center established by the government, which then evolved into an association with the support of the 3 major guilds. The Hunter Associations overseas were also formed through similar processes. Currently, it is a state-run institution with 51% government shares, 30% held by the 3 major guilds, and 19% by other guilds. But in 5 years, the guild's influence will grow, and they will seize most of the shares. To be precise, Haeyeon Guild will take over. The more I think about it, the more I realize Yu-hyun wasn't in his right mind even before my regression. For the master of such a great guild to risk his life to save his useless older brother, it's incomprehensible. But thanks to that, I survived, regressed, and even obtained 2 L-grade titles, so I guess I should tolerate Yu-hyun's crazy behavior. What choice do I have? Since it was the weekend, there were quite a few people in the waiting room of the Hunter Association's Awakened Registration Center. Most of the awakened here were double F ranked, meaning both their skills and stats were F ranked, making it impossible for them to work as hunters, but they still came to register. The government was providing subsidies to encourage awakened registration. Just registering as an awakened earned you a 1 million won subsidy. So unless you were swimming in money, everyone showed up at the association. I took a waiting ticket and sat down. Judging by the number, it looked like it would take some time. Hey, isn't that A-rank hunter Kim Sung-han? Huh? It really is. The people in the waiting room started whispering as they recognized Kim Sung-han, who had followed me. Although A ranks aren't as famous as S ranks, Kim Sung-han was a well-known hunter both by face and name. Half of that was due to Yoo Hyun's influence, and half of it was because of his outstanding performance during the A-rank dungeon break in the Dongdaegu area. A dungeon break occurs when the number of monsters inside a dungeon increases excessively, causing them to pour out dangerously into the outside world. However, with proper management nowadays, this almost never happens. Known dungeons never break, and it only occasionally happens when a new dungeon is discovered too late. But why is he standing there? He came in with that guy earlier. This time, the people's eyes shifted to me, sitting next to Kim Sung-han. He's just sitting there while the A-rank hunter is standing. Who is he? He looks like he's guarding him. Maybe he's here as a bodyguard. He's holding a waiting ticket, so he must be here to register as an awakened, but if an A-rank follows him, he must be no joke. Maybe Hayan Guild is bringing in a new S-rank today. No, I'm an F-rank candidate. I looked up at Kim Sung-han and whispered quietly, "Why don't you have a seat?" "I'm fine." "Please, just sit down. Standing is better for responding to any emergencies." What emergencies could possibly happen inside the Hunter Association? Especially when the only people here are rookies coming to register as awakened. Maybe I should see if there's any promising talent around. I glanced over at a guy who had been chatting noisily for a while to check him out. Awakened? Shin Min-ho. Current stat rank, F. Potential stat rank, F to E. Initial skills, failed to acquire, quick step, E. Acquired, jumping, E. Acquired, throwing, F. His awakened stats dropped a rank, and he didn't even get all his optimized initial skills. But since he has an E rank skill, at least he qualifies to be a hunter. After checking 2 more double F ranks, a brief pain throbbed in my head before disappearing. It was a signal that I had used up half of my mana. It seems like my skill to check promising talent has a limit of 6 uses. With a magic stat of 2, it's only natural. Health and mana weren't displayed on the status screen. It would be so convenient if they were shown as red and blue bars like in a game, but since they're not, I had to estimate based on how my body felt. At least health could roughly be gauged by looking at someone, whether they were fine, half dead, or on the brink of death. But mana was the problem. Even 5 years later, there was no way to check how much mana was left. All we knew was that when you used up half of your mana, you'd feel a brief headache, and if you had less than 10% left, you'd pass out. Fortunately, passive skills like poison resistance don't usually consume mana. Using Optimized Awakening or the skill My Kid is the Best will probably consume even more mana. For Yoo Hyun, it was applied passively thanks to the first title effect. But if I used it now, I might fail the skill and pass out. I should probably level up a bit. But to do that, I'd have to enter a dungeon, and if Yuhyun found out, he'd flip out and stop me. Should I sneak in? Numbers 56 to 65, please come in. The people who had been here before me got up and followed the association staff inside. After another group went in, it was finally my turn. Inside, there were rows of desks separated by partitions. The staff handed out papers to everyone. The paper was an awakened registration application, which had fields for personal information as well as stats and skills. After filling it out, they would verify the information and then determine your awakened rank. I picked up a pen and began filling in the blanks. I only wrote down my stats and basic skills, leaving out the titles. Stats could be measured immediately, but skills and titles couldn't be checked without proper technology, so if you hid them, they couldn't be verified.
People usually exaggerate their stats rather than downplay them, but hardly anyone writes them lower.
Unless you're a special case like me, why would anyone intentionally aim for a lower rank? The treatment you receive changes drastically with each rank, and there are a lot of benefits once you reach C rank or higher. Is that guy an S rank rookie? The new S rank from high-end guild that A rank Kim Sung-han escorted? No, I said no, you idiots! How did a simple guess turn into a confirmed fact so quickly? And hey, you there, where are you going with that phone call? Oh crap, here comes an association staff member who looks like a higher up. Surely he's not here because of me. Hello, I'm Soak Gim-young, head of the Awakened Registration Department at the Hunter Association. He bowed his head slightly toward me. Damn it, no, that's not it. Don't bow. If it's not too much trouble, may I take a look at the application you filled out? Here you go. I was already starting to feel embarrassed, but I handed over the application anyway. Soak Gim-young's eyebrows twitched slightly as he saw the single-digit stats and E-rank skills. Hey, I have 5 L-grade skills, you know. I see. Well, take care then. After reviewing the application, he immediately dropped the formal tone. The polite attitude from earlier disappeared without a trace. This really sucks. I went through this a lot before my regression, but it still sucks. What? He's not an S-rank rookie? Judging by that guy's attitude, he's not. Then why was he pretending to be an S-rank? I wasn't pretending, you bastards! You're the ones who jumped to conclusions. So what do you mean by pretending? This is reminding me of those sleazy journalists who used to write novels about me and Yuhyun. Ugh, just thinking about it makes my stomach churn. My inferiority complex was fueled by those jerks by at least 30%. The articles praising Yuhyun never failed to include comparisons to his useless older brother. Enduring the scornful gazes, I submitted my application and headed to the low-rank measurement room. Are you wearing or carrying any items? The staff in the measurement room asked in a businesslike tone. No. Please step onto the measurement device. Following instructions, I stepped onto the circular device that resembled a disc. The device, made from materials harvested from dungeons, glowed faintly before displaying the results. Health 6, Strength 4, Agility 5, Willpower 4, Mana 2, measured. Accurate. Your skills are E-rank Willpower up and E-rank Agility up, correct? Yes. Please use your skills on the assistant. An assistant stepped forward to verify the buff skills. I was worried I might run out of mana, but fortunately I didn't faint while using the skill. I really need to buy a few mana potions. After finishing the stat measurements, I went into the photo booth to take pictures. The photos, which included both headshots and full body shots from the front and back, were immediately stored in the association's database. Then, after waiting for a while, I was called over to the certification desk. Mr. Han Eugene,
You are an F rank awakened and meet the qualifications for a hunter license and may enter dungeons after completing the basic program for new hunters. Would you like to apply for the program? I'll apply using High-End Guild's letter of guarantee. New hunters who had already joined or were set to join a guild could skip the basic program with a guild's letter of guarantee, as the training within the guild was much more thorough. I handed High-End Guild's letter of guarantee to the staff member. The staff member quickly typed on the keyboard after confirming the letter. Please provide the account number to receive your subsidy. It must be under your name. Bak-Il Bank 995.04100098. I just got a free $1,000,000. Long live the association! Since I was backed by the guild, my hunter license was issued immediately. The license was the size of an ID card, displaying my photo, serial number, rank, and name. After receiving the license, I asked the staff member, "Is there a direct way from here to the Hunter shopping mall? If I go outside, I'll have a watchdog following me, which is annoying. There's no need for someone to tell me even inside the association. If you use the elevator at the end of the right hallway, you'll enter the shopping mall directly. Thank you." Following the staff member's directions, I took the elevator and entered the side door leading straight into the shopping mall. I noticed an ATM nearby. Should I check how much Yu-hyun gave me? I took out a card from my wallet and approached the ATM. It was a gift card exclusively for the Hunter shopping mall. I told Yu-hyun I needed money to buy a contract, and he handed it over, saying he'd put in a reasonable amount. It feels a bit awkward being used allowance from my younger brother, but Hunter items are all so expensive that my poor wallet can't handle it. A contract for A-rank hunters costs around 400 to 500 million won, so we probably put in about 10 million. If possible, I'd like to buy an S-rank contract, but I have no idea how much that would cost. It's probably at least twice as expensive as an A-rank one. I also need mana potions, so maybe I'll just get the A-rank one for now. I inserted the card into the machine and checked the balance, and the numbers quickly appeared on the screen. Balance 1 billion won. Just how many zeros is that? Yu-hyun, you crazy bastard!
Chapter 8. The gift card held a whopping 1 billion won. Wow. I told him I needed money, and he just casually throws 1 billion at me. Is this even okay? Do I not have to pay gift tax? Are S-rank hunters exempt from gift taxes too? Feeling dazed, I pulled out the card and began walking further into the shopping mall. The Hunter shopping mall occupied the 3rd to the 6th floors of the Hunter Association building. The 3rd and 4th floors offered items ranked C and below, the 5th floor had B-ranked items, and the 6th floor was where A-ranked items could be purchased. Items ranked S and above were sold exclusively through auctions. With plenty of money on hand, I headed straight for the 6th floor. The 6th floor was nearly empty, with only a few customers, and the neatly dressed staff stood at regular intervals, poised like mannequins. Where can I find S-rank contracts? When I asked the nearest female employee, she responded with a perfectly drawn, polite smile. "I'll guide you right away, sir. Would you please follow me?" She led me to a reception room surrounded by glass walls. As I looked around, I noticed several such rooms scattered around the floor. As soon as I sat down on the sofa, another female employee came over to offer me a drink. "Coffee. Do you have a preferred blend?" Just instant coffee would be fine, but it didn't seem like the kind of place that served instant coffee. Orange juice, please." Hopefully she wouldn't ask me what variety of oranges I wanted. Fortunately, she only inquired if I wanted ice before freshly squeezing the oranges into an expensive-looking glass. This is good. Must be some pricey oranges, right? As I sipped the juice, a man who appeared to be in his late 30s entered and bowed to me at a 90-degree angle. "I'm Gi-Yun So, the manager in charge of the 6th floor of the Hunter shopping mall."
Even though contracts are relatively cheap for the 6th floor, the manager came in person. This is some over-the-top service. The manager, with a sophisticated smile, took a seat across from me. It's rare for someone to seek an S-rank contract, so it might take about 10 minutes. I've already sent a staff member to fetch it from the warehouse, so I ask your understanding. Oh, that's fine. I nodded. It made sense that few people would be in the market for an S-rank contract. Except for one, all S-rank hunters in the country are guild leaders, so if someone is looking to sign a contract with an S rank, it implies they're on par with those hunters or have a close connection with them. That explains why the manager rushed out to personally cater to me. It wasn't long before the staff returned carrying a luxurious leather box. We currently have 5 types of S-rank contracts in stock. The most popular one is the stat reduction type. As the manager spoke, he took out a contract made of parchment from the box and spread it on the table. This contract contains an S-rank curse skill from the S-rank hunter Marion Manuela Schussler. If the contract is breached, all stats are reduced by 20% for 1 year. Without an SS rank curse nullifying skill or item, it's impossible to escape this powerful contract. Essentially, only the Saintess can break it. The contract is valid for up to 10 years. Wait a minute. Does that mean I wouldn't suffer any penalties even if I broke the contract? My curse resistance is L grade. An S-rank curse wouldn't even tickle me. This could actually be pretty useful. The thought crossed my mind, but I quickly dismissed it. It's unlikely I'd ever be the one bound by a contract, and a 20% reduction in F-rank stats wouldn't make much difference. I could use an illegal contract that involves life and death stakes, but I wasn't about to go that far. We also have contracts for skill downgrades or seals. However, these are limited to 1 S rank or below, so they're less effective against someone with SS rank skills. Permanent stat reduction contracts are highly effective but difficult to get the other hunter to agree to. Even if someone plans to honor the contract, they'd likely feel uneasy about such terms. I purchased a 1-year stat reduction contract and a 1-month skill ceiling contract. In an instant, 50 million won disappeared. Even so, I still had 950 million won left. My brother really doesn't know the value of money. I'll use the money gratefully since it was given to me. Show me some mana-boosting equipment as well, something that can be worn regularly, and I'd prefer an increase in absolute value rather than a percentage boost. While percentage boosts are generally more valuable, they're useless to me. My magic stat is only 2. Even a +5 item that wouldn't even qualify for a C rank is better for me than something that gives a +50% boost, which would have the world's top-ranked hunters foaming at their mouth. Soon, velvet-covered cases were laid out on the table. These items have all been appraised by A-rank appraiser Bak Ji-yeon of the Korean Hunter Association. The manager said as he opened the lids one by one. While you can usually assess the equipment's performance by wearing it, there were cases where they were sold under the pretense of being magical or cursed. That's why expensive items always came with an appraisal certificate. This is the Crimson Lumeris Ring. It's an A-rank accessory that increases the magic stat by 30. Since magic is a difficult stat to grow, even a mere increase of 30 makes this an A-rank item. With this ring alone, I wouldn't have to worry about running out of mana, but it's disgustingly flashy. The red gem set in the silver ring was the size of a quail egg, and it was even surrounded by what looked like diamonds. How can I wear something like this? This is the Aris Hull bracelet. It's also an A-rank accessory, increasing the magic stat by 27.
Next, a bracelet made of walnut-sized blue beads, a sapphire necklace that glittered brightly, and a leather ribbon hair tie were presented before my eyes. Why do they all look like this? As you know, the gender ratio among higher-ranked hunters leans heavily toward males, so simpler accessories tend to sell out quickly. Seeing my frown, the manager offered an explanation. Still, this is too much. Besides, those ring and bracelet designs are embarrassing to wear regardless of gender. This is the Black Fairy Earring. It's an A-rank accessory that increases the magic stat by 29. This is the last A-rank mana-boosting item we have. The rest are C-rank or below. Not even B-rank, but C-rank? I hesitated, eyeing the Black Fairy Earring. It was a simple earring with a small black gem the size of a grain of rice. I don't like the idea of getting my ear pierced, but something this subtle shouldn't be too noticeable. What's the increase for the C-rank items? I asked, just in case. They range from +5 to +6. That won't do. The difference is too significant. It would need to be at least a total of +10 to be useful. In the end, I bought the Black Fairy Earring. It cost 230 million won. For an A-rank mana-boosting item, it was on the cheaper side. The fact that I'm calling something in the hundreds of millions cheap just shows how different the world of high-ranking hunters is. No need for piercing. Just bringing the earring close to my earlobe made it attach itself. With this, my magic stat has exceeded 30. I also bought gloves that increase strength and a belt that boosts agility. Awakened Han Yu Jin. Titles. Question mark. Dragon Slayer. L. Perfect Nurturer. L. Level 1. Health 6 plus 51. Strength 4 plus 20. Agility 5 plus 16. Willpower 4. Magic 2 plus 29. Equipment. Black Fairy Earring A. Manticore Leather Gloves A. Lightweight Cloth Belt B. Skills. Willpower Up E. Increases the target's willpower by 5%. Immediate effect. Cannot stack with similar skills. Duration 30 minutes. Agility Up E. Increases the target's agility by 5%. Immediate effect. Cannot stack with similar skills. Duration 30 minutes. My average stat for level 1, excluding magic, is 26.5. That's a C-rank stat. The focus on health makes it somewhat imbalanced, but jumping 3 ranks in one go, money really is powerful. Of course, the ranks will drop sharply as I level up. That's why percentage-based gear is much more popular. Even after splurging on 2 pieces of gear, I still had nearly 500 million won left. I thought I'd spend it all in a flash, but it's not going down as quickly as I expected. Too bad I can't use this gift card outside. I bought a set of 20 low-grade mana potions and a set of health potions. Then I thought, might as well buy a weapon and armor too. With decent equipment, I should be able to clear a low-tier F-rank dungeon. Please show me some dungeon gear that boosts stats, especially those that increase absolute values. This time, due to the sheer variety of items, the manager brought out a catalog instead of the actual items. There were many weapons, but only a few that I could use. Before the regression, I mainly used a spear. All I did was stand behind others, cast buffs, and poke with my spear. I only managed to take down the Lauditars because I had some of Yu Heen's combat skills passed down along with a portion of his memories. After much deliberation, I chose a pair of daggers, a spear, and light armor. Since I couldn't carry these around with me, I stored them all in my inventory. While carrying armor might be fine, wandering around with dungeon weapons could result in fines and demerits. Accumulate enough demerits and your hunter license gets suspended, or even revoked if it's habitual. Did I buy everything I need? Not much money left. Oh, that thing. There's something just right for me. Do you have any items that release toxic mists or have a similar effect? Curses are fine. Something that spreads poison around or causes blindness. I can nullify those effects completely, so I should have something like that on hand for emergencies. The staff brought out a black orb that was doubly sealed for protection. This is the endless black poison of S-rank hunter Venom King Lun Ru Han. Without at least an A-rank poison-resistant skill or item, one would be dead within 10 seconds of inhalation or incapacitated within 5 seconds, depending on the resistance level. The effective range is 5 meters. Using this outside a dungeon would result in immediate arrest with maximum penalty of death. Even A-rank poison-resistant skills and items are exceedingly rare, and S-rank resistance doesn't exist at all, so this item would take out most opponents with ease. Is there anything with a wider effective range? If the range were about 100 meters instead of 5, I could probably clear a C-rank dungeon solo if it was full of close-range attack monsters. Once you hit B rank, though, the monsters get so fast they could cover that 100 meters in under 3 seconds, so it wouldn't work. Among the items currently for sale, this endless black poison has the widest effective range relative to its potency. The wider the range, the more diluted the poison becomes, which is why the range tends to be limited. The farther the target, the longer the death time, or the lower the poison's effectiveness. For instance, against F-rank monsters, the endless black poison would kill within 10 seconds or incapacitate within 3 seconds at a maximum range of 50 meters. 50 meters and 3 seconds. I could clear an F-rank dungeon. But there would be some casualties. Most broad-range, random target curses are relatively weak. Curses, by nature, require specific conditions and they can't compare to a contract where the target directly signs. There are items where the effect can be enhanced by offering a sacrifice, but I'll pass on that. I'm looking for something I can use in an emergency, not something that requires a lengthy ritual.
In the end, I emptied my remaining funds to buy 3 of the endless black poison and got up to leave. As I stepped out of the glass door, the staff opened for me. To F-rank hunter Han Yu Jin, who registered today, A-rank hunter Kim Sung Han is looking for you. Please visit or contact the Lost and Found Center immediately after hearing this announcement. A broadcast was aired looking for me. Damn it, Kim Sung Han. It's bad enough you use the announcement system, but why the Lost and Found Center? You could have just told me to come to the front gate. I cursed silently and hurried to the Lost and Found Center before a second announcement could be made. Kim Sung-han was standing in front of the Lost and Found Center, looking like a debt collector. Parents looking for their lost children would be scared away just by seeing him. "Where did you go?" He frowned as he spoke. His expression and low, rumbling voice made it clear that he was angry enough to punch someone. If I didn't have fear resistance, I would have instinctively pleaded for my life. "I went to buy a contract. Didn't I mention it?" "No, you didn't." "Oh, must have slipped my mind. Sorry." At my half-hearted apology, Kim Sung-han's expression turned even more menacing. Surely he won't swing that clenched fist, right? Don't forget I'm the older brother of the guild leader you serve. Do you have any other business? Should I? It's still early, so should I head to Myeongdong Station and try to find Park Yerim, or should I check out my place first? Yu-yan said he'd arrange for a move, but hopefully they haven't packed my stuff up already. Take me to my home. My address is... There's nothing there anymore. Is that for real? Did they really move everything without me? Where did they move everything to? To the Heian Guild dorms? It was probably moved to a spare room at the guild leader's residence. No way I'm living with my slightly unhinged brother. I was doing just fine on my own, and now I'm going to be dragged back under my little brother's thumb. Yu-yan, let's try to be at least half as distant as we were before the regression. Please! As we walked toward the elevator connected to the parking lot, I could feel people's gazes pricking at me. Then came the murmurs. Is that the F-rank guy who came with the A-rank? What's their relationship? Kim Sung-han even made an announcement looking for him. There's definitely something going on. Didn't they mention the Lost and Found Center? Isn't it strange for someone that age to be considered lost? Hey lady, stop laughing! Are these people awakened or just a bunch of gossipers? They sure love to talk. I was sick of hearing them repeat F rank over and over again. Do any of you think you're an S rank? Now that my mana has increased, I scanned the people around me. As expected, F ranks were everywhere. Then again, even C ranks would have been immediately snapped up by guilds, so they wouldn't be loitering around here. Most guilds with any reputation start recruiting members from C rank. B ranks can expect proper treatment anywhere, and A ranks are in high demand wherever they go. This guy's an F, that guy's an F, you're an F, too? Huh? The man I just passed. Awakened. Young-Woo. Current stat rank F. Potential stat rank F. Optimized initial skills. Failed to acquire Master of the Golden Forge SS. Failed to acquire Sharpened Blades A. Master of the Golden Forge?
Chapter 9. The hunchbacked man who looked worn down by life had failed to acquire an SS rank skill. Judging by the skill's name, it was clearly a crafting-related special skill. Unbelievable. Even 5 years from now, not a single equipment crafting skill would have been discovered. And here I am, seeing one right in front of me. Special skills were already rare, but after the awakening centers were established, they became almost non-existent. That's because the awakening method at the centers involved combat in virtual reality. Later on, they introduced a virtual reality setting for healers, but that was the extent of it. As a result, 70% of those who awakened through the centers ended up with combat skills, 29% with healing skills, and the remaining 1% mostly with combat support skills. Special skills only appeared once in a million cases. Anyway, this is huge, absolutely huge. The problem was that to nurture this person, I'd have to say that damn keyword, but it felt too wasteful to give up. At the very least, I should introduce myself. I decided to chase after the man who looked worn down by life. Thud! Something grabbed the back of my neck. Songhan lifted me lightly, like a puppy, and spoke in an irritated tone. Where do you think you're going this time without even saying anything? Do I really need to report every little thing? I feel like a 5-year-old who's gone grocery shopping with his mom. I just thought I recognized someone. I was going to say hi. So let go of me. Songhan grumbled that I should have said something first, but he released me. Meanwhile, the man who had failed to acquire the SS rank skill was already far away. No, wait! Hey! Young-Woo! I shouted at the top of my lungs. Young-Woo, who was just about to turn the corner, flinched and looked back. I put on an exaggeratedly happy expression and walked briskly toward him. Young-Woo, right? Young-Woo, it's been so long! Acting like we were long-lost friends, I greeted him enthusiastically. Young-Woo looked confused and scrutinized my face. Of course, he wouldn't recognize me. We've never met before. What was it again? Sorry, but I really can't remember. It's fine. I don't remember you either. Don't you remember? Han Yujin! Yujin! Sorry? I really don't. Well, it has been a long time. It's understandable. I was also a bit unsure. How have you been? Did you awaken too? I lightly patted Young-Woo on the shoulder as I spoke. He gave me a sheepish smile. Yeah, I'm F rank though. Both stats and skills? My skill is E rank, but it's not good enough to enter a dungeon. I just came here for the subsidy. A weak smile flitted across Myung-Woo's face. It was clear that life had been tough for him. I'm FE too, but hey, at least we get hunter licenses. That's better than being a double F. I whispered the last part. My comment made Myung-Woo smile a little more brightly. If you're FE, you must have signed up for the basic program, right? He shook his head at my question. No, I didn't. The training is free, but I'd have to pay for the week-long lodging. The basic program doesn't even come with a subsidy, and with my stats, I doubt I could clear any dungeons, so I'd rather spend that time job hunting. He reminded me of my pre-regression self. If it hadn't been for my debts, I might have given up on being a hunter and just tried to find a regular job. Heading into a dungeon with only an E rank buff skill was a really stupid idea. So what did I do? I used my brother, the high-end guild leader, to find party members. It was practically a scam, and naturally my reputation was in the gutter. Back then, I cursed Yuhyun a lot for refusing to help me and turning me away. I should repent. I'll never do that again, though I'm already lying through my teeth. But this is for mutual benefit, so it's okay. So how do you know the high-end guild leader? He's my brother. Myungwoo's eyes filled with admiration and envy. Well, my brother is kind of impressive, isn't he? Completing guild training instead of the associations program will make it much easier to find party members. In low-level F-rank dungeons, everyone's stats and skills are pretty much the same, so experience is key. What's your initial skill? Whetstone. It sharpens bladed weapons by 2%. A weapon buff skill, huh? Yeah, that's a bit tricky, but you can still manage up to D rank with good gear. Want me to lend you some?
Even with just C rank gear, an F rank can handle an E rank dungeon. I'm an F rank myself, but I've entered D rank dungeons before, though I almost got killed by a Laudatar. However, from C rank dungeons onward, it becomes hard to manage with just gear alone. Lend me gear? Myungwoo looked shocked. Well, it's no wonder, given that even F-rank hunter gear costs tens of thousands of won. To benefit from better gear, you need to wear something above your rank, which easily costs hundreds of thousands, if not millions. I mean, I spent millions on gear today. No wonder he's surprised that I'm offering to lend it so easily. I flashed the friendliest smile I could muster. I don't go to dungeons often anyway. It'd be a waste to let the gear just sit around, right? I'm just lending out something I'm not using, so don't feel burdened. But I don't even really remember you. I told you don't worry about it. You're a good guy, a really good one. He's an asset so valuable they had to slap 2 S's on his skill. If it ever got out that Yu Myung-woo had that skill, people would be swarming in with contracts full of outrageous offers from all over the world. I think you're more than worthy of this kind of treatment, so just accept it. It won't hurt, right? Really? Tears welled up in Myung-woo's eyes. Drop. And they fell like big, fat raindrops. Huh? What? Am I really worth anything? Yeah, I think so. What? Like a dam breaking, Myung-woo burst into tears. He was sobbing so hard it made hiccuping sounds. What do I do? Should I try to comfort him? You must have had a lot bottled up. I awkwardly patted his hunched back, and he made a choked sound before pulling me into a tight hug. Hey, calm down. This is really embarrassing. I grabbed a paper cup from the vending machine as it filled with coffee and glanced at Myung-woo, who was sipping Yolmu tea. He looks like a mess. Not only were his eyes bloodshot, but his face and neck were flushed red. Tear tracks were streaked all over, making him look like a beggar who had just been beaten up and thrown out. But at least his expression seemed a bit more relieved. Are you feeling better now? Sitting on the bench next to the vending machine, he nodded shyly. I took a sip of coffee and sat beside him. Who cares about fancy blends? Vending machine milk coffee is the best. When I was young, I won a lot of awards, you know? Myung-woo began, watching the people strolling along the path behind the association building. The weather was really nice. My hands were really skilled, just like you said. Yeah, I know. You were the best. With the talent to acquire an SS rank crafting skill, of course he'd be amazing. But it turned out to be useless in life. When I was a kid, people praised me. But as soon as I got a little older, they told me to stop fooling around and focus on my studies. I had to get good grades, go to a good college, and get a good job. There was no room for the talent I was praised for. His voice was calm. If my family had been better off, maybe we could have found a way to nurture my talent. But we didn't have that luxury. I wasn't good at studying, so I ended up at a mediocre college with a pile of debt. My grades and reputation were stamped with failure. After that, there was nowhere left for me to go. As he sighed, I also felt a bitter taste in my mouth. I know that all too well. Even before awakened hunters appeared, the world had its own ranking system. It wasn't as openly divided into S through F as it is now, but you were still graded right from birth. The so-called gold spoons and dirt spoons. Just like the awakened stat rankings, the starting point was different from the beginning. Sure, some people born into poor families manage to climb their way up, but the majority stay where they are. Even with effort, many can only rise so far before they stop. Your initial skill might be akin to natural talent. If your circumstances don't allow it, that talent might never bloom. Just as schools crammed everything into academics and ranked students, the awakening centers crammed everything into combat and healing, setting their rankings. In the end, people like Yoon-Young-woo with an SS rank skill ended up buried and forgotten. An F rank hunter, an F rank in society. I feel like cracking open a bottle of soju. My parents divorced a long time ago, and I was just a useless freeloader. Do you know how I awakened? I tried to kill myself. I was cutting my wrist when I awakened. My first thought was, oh, I'll get 1,000,000 won. That little thought gave me a bit of relief. 1,000,000 won is not a small amount, but it's not a lot either. If you don't have a proper job, that money will be gone in a couple of months for living expenses. What happened to Yoon-Young-woo before I regressed? He might have been momentarily happy about getting that 1,000,000 won, but as an F-rank hunter with a support skill that was useless in dungeons, how much longer could he have endured? I used the money to buy a decent meal for the first time in ages, and then I didn't think about anything else. I just let things go however they would. But then you came and told me. He crushed the empty paper cup as he spoke. You told me I was worth something. You told me to keep living, that there was a path ahead, and that it was okay because I was worth reaching out to. He's about to cry again. I cleared my throat awkwardly. I was just trying to hit the jackpot, but now I'm feeling embarrassed. I don't say this to just anyone. I really mean it when I say you're a good guy. Thank you. Truly. Myung-woo wiped the fresh tears from his eyes with his fists. The atmosphere was nice. I don't think I'll get another chance like this. All right, let's do this.
Our lives might have hit rock bottom, but mine wasn't exactly smooth either. After our parents died, I had to drop out of school to take care of my younger brother and make ends meet. Fortunately, my brother awakened as an S rank, but I ended up a bottom-tier F rank. To be honest, I was really jealous of him. As I spoke, my true feelings started to slip out. But still, even if everyone else laughs at us and says our lives are ruined, we don't need to tear ourselves down, right? Life's hard enough as it is, but if we let ourselves get discouraged, we'll end up wallowing in the mud. If life is a mess and your mindset becomes a mess too, you'll end up hitting rock bottom below rock bottom. My life would have been much different if I had managed to shed even a little bit of my inferiority complex. Is there any need to strain our necks looking up all the time? I just live thinking I'm actually great and others just don't see it. Love yourself a little too. I love the amazing me. It's better to win a psychological victory than to dig yourself into a pit. I looked at Myung-woo with an exaggerated grin. Myung-woo, I love you too, my friend. He laughed, and I laughed. A message window popped up. Awakened Yoon-Young-woo has been moved by the keyword.
Chapter 10. After exchanging phone numbers with Yoon-Young-woo, the future SS rank skill holder, I said goodbye. Getting him into high-end guild would be another challenge, but maybe I could convince Yoon-Hyung by insisting that I sensed something extraordinary about Myung-woo. When I returned to high-end guild, it seemed that rumors had already spread. People were eyeing me with curiosity. Is that the guild leader's older brother? I've never seen him before, but they don't really look alike. Excuse me, guild leader's brother. Are you really F rank? Wow, they sure like to talk. Judging by the crowd, most of them came out just to see me. It's the weekend. Why don't they just go home and rest? Yes, I'm F rank. Now please move so I can pass. Shoo shoo, you people. Everyone but those on duty should just go home. At least, at this point in time, I hadn't caused enough trouble to warrant death glares or curses. The real backlash started about half a year later, when the Awakening Center opened and I awakened. Right after the announcement that the Awakening Center would soon open, some people approached me. They had high hopes because I was the older brother of an S-rank awakened, and they coaxed me into joining the Awakening Center on its opening day, backed by their support. And well, the result was F-rank. There were a lot of reporters there at the time, and plenty of headlines like, "Is the S-rank awakened's brother also an S-rank?" After that, I got cursed out endlessly, criticized to no end. And the sponsors who had backed me shoved contracts in my face, leaving me in debt. The debt was one thing, but the insults? Even now it feels unfair. I didn't ask them to write those articles, yet they hyped me up on their own and then blamed me. Curse them, not me, you idiots. Remembering those past and future events, I felt tears welling up, so I quickened my pace. Damn it, this is unfair. I swear, if I do nothing else, I'll get revenge on those reporters. If it weren't for that mess, my life wouldn't have fallen apart so completely. Especially Kim Sung-joon and Park Hae-sin. Those two jerks I'll never forget. They twisted my words from interviews and stirred up trouble. Just you wait. Grinding my teeth, I got on the elevator. To get to Yoo-hyun's house, I had to get off on the 10th floor, go through a security check, head to the portal room for another identification verification, and then use the designated mini portal to enter. It was such a hassle that I was already considering moving to the employee dorms. So where exactly is my room? Yesterday I was so impressed with the massive TV that I ended up watching soccer and fell asleep on a sofa that was as comfortable as a bed. The game was just too boring. Since athletes usually have great physical abilities, many of them awakened with at least E-rank stats. Consequently, many of them retired, leaving sports like soccer, basketball, and baseball with only mediocre players. Anyone with stats above E-rank couldn't compete because they were no longer considered ordinary humans. But a league for awakened players ranked C and below was planned to start soon. Apparently, those ranked C and below were unhappy because they didn't make as much money as professional athletes. Just how many rooms does Yoo-hyun have in his house? This place occupied half of an entire floor, so it's ridiculously spacious. I opened one of the nearby doors. The room inside was empty. Since he lives alone, most of the rooms are probably empty. What a waste of space. Grumbling, I walked down the corridor. I hadn't been to this part of the house before. Oh. A glass-walled indoor garden appeared. Or rather, it looked more like a greenhouse. The trees were dense, and the plants were growing wildly. Gang! What the? As I walked along the glass wall, something that looked like a cat jumped out from the bushes. It was a red-furred cat with a tail like a fox's and a single horn on its head. The cat hissed at me menacingly. This glass wall is sturdy, right? You're a feisty little thing. Was this actually a greenhouse or more like an animal enclosure? It didn't seem like an ordinary animal, so what could it be? Just in case, I used the promising talent skill to check the cat. Grade 2 unicorn subspecies, flame-horned lion, juvenile. Current stat rank, C. Potential stat rank, A to S. Optimized initial skills. Flame breath, S. Acquired after maturity. Flaming sprint, A. Acquired after maturity. Gigantification, A. Acquired after maturity. Flame resistance, A. Acquired. Unable to mature without the assistance of an adult.
This cat is a flame-horned lion. I couldn't hide my surprise as I looked at the growling cat. A Grade 2 unicorn subspecies, flame-horned lion. It's a high-level creature, and while a unicorn subspecies isn't quite on the level of a dragonkin, it's still classified as a superior magical beast. With high stats, incredible speed, and destructive skills, it would be tough for even an S rank to handle alone without proper elemental resistance. Well, Yuhyun, with his fire immunity, would have had an easy time with it. Did he catch it to try and tame it? Has a tamer with the taming skill already appeared? If it can be tamed, this would be the perfect mount for Yuhyun. Then again, it would also need to be grown properly. If it can't mature without the assistance of an adult, it's useless. Could my skill, "My kid is the best," work on monsters too? It doesn't explicitly say that it only works on humans. Let's try it. Target is in an incomplete keyword affinity state. The same message appeared as when I tried using it on Kim Sung-han. There's no indication that it can't be applied, so it works on monsters too. When applying the skill, "My kid is the best L," the time required for the Grade 2 flame-horned lion to mature into an adult is 15 days. A follow-up message appeared. Since the skill can only be applied for 3 days each month, it would take 5 months for it to reach adulthood.
Yuhan definitely didn't have a mount even 5 years later. In higher-level dungeons, the interior is more expansive, so having a mount would be convenient. However, due to Yuhan's skills, he couldn't ride any mount that didn't have at least A-rank fire resistance. If they were attacked while moving, the mount might die just from being exposed to his attack skills. So he captured a flame-horned lion cub, but it seems he failed to raise it. The taming skill can only tame monsters of a lower level than the skill itself. Since a flame-horned lion is around S rank, it couldn't be tamed unless it was a cub. However, since the cub is C rank, even a B-ranked tamer should be able to tame it. But it won't grow any further. There's no way he could use something this small as a mount. But if I raise it, it would be perfect. Mounts, even ordinary magical beasts, are so rare and valuable that they're treated like S-rank items. It would be a waste to leave such a well-suited beast, with just the right elemental resistance, unused. Being a unicorn subspecies, it's faster than ordinary magical beasts and has high attack power. It's really top-notch. But the keyword is the issue. Would it even understand human language? Hey, little guy, do you understand what I'm saying? Gang! Gang! You don't understand, huh? Grrr. Still, it felt too wasteful to give up. Maybe I could train it somehow. There are plenty of dogs that understand human speech on those animal shows. I'm not sure if understanding the keyword is necessary or simply hearing it and feeling something emotionally is enough. The keyword itself could be somewhat flexible. For instance, with the previous keyword cheer up, the skill worked with variations like cheer up, please cheer up, keep your chin up, etc. So I thought it might be enough if the general meaning got through. But if my guess was wrong and understanding was necessary, then that would be a problem. How am I supposed to teach a flame-horned lion about love? I'm sure if I experimented with this guy to see. If I associate the word love with feeding time like Pavlov's dog, I might get a reaction. After training it to associate love with food and then making it go hungry for a few days, when I say love, bang. At that moment, I heard the sound of a door being slammed open. No one else would do that in the guild leader's house, so it must be Yuhan. Perfect timing. I should tell him I want to try raising the flame-horned lion cub. Yuhan? I was about to step into the hallway and call my brother, but his expression wasn't right. His face was hard, his eyes and mouth set in a way that suggested anger. Did something happen? What's wrong? What? Give it to me. He strode toward me, almost growling. What? What does he want? Is he talking about the gift card? Yeah, The amount was pretty excessive. I already spent most of it, though. Can it be refunded? Endless black poison. Huh? Hand it over, now! It's not the gift card, but how does he know I bought endless black poison? The Hunter shopping mall should be discreet. Does a notification get sent when you use a gift card? Why, give it to me. His voice grew harsher, and his eyes had a dark red glow. Thanks to my fear resistance, I wasn't scared, but why is he acting like this? No, but... Yuhan? Can I get a word in? He keeps cutting me off. It looked like he was about to grab me by the collar if I didn't comply, so I reluctantly took out one of the endless black poison orbs from my inventory. I had planned to use this for solo clearing F-rank dungeons. Do I have to give him all of them? The others too. I handed over the remaining 2 orbs, and only then did Yuhan's expression soften. He tossed the endless black poison into his inventory and let out a long sigh. Why on earth would you think of something like this? Huh? What are you talking about? Did you really trust me so little? It sounds like he's spouting nonsense. Is he already suffering from heat stroke? And he has high fire resistance. Not sure what you mean, but if anyone should be mistrusted, it's me. You're someone I can rely on. He's so trustworthy that I could probably get a 1 billion won loan just by having him co-sign. Of course, you should never co-sign for anyone, even a sibling. Yuhan's face twisted in a grimace at my words. I just told him I trust him, so why the face? It would be nice to have a skill to read my brother's mind. Don't say that. You were ready to sacrifice your life for me. Pardon? Isn't that the other way around? You died, and thanks to that, I lived and even regressed. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but I didn't... Even if you were taken hostage, don't even think about using poison or anything like that. No matter what happens, I'll save you. So don't even think about dying. What? Poison. That was it. Come to think of it, he doesn't know I have poison resistance. Endless black poison is a wide-range toxic mist. If you use it without poison resistance, it's essentially a death wish. So he misunderstood. I let out a sheepish laugh. Hey, I wasn't thinking that. Why would I die? Hun. He pulled me into a tight hug. No, stop. Don't do this. It's a misunderstanding. Thank you. No, it's not like that. But just knowing how much you care is enough. So don't worry about me and take care of yourself. I wasn't worried about you, though. Since Yuhan was being so dramatic, I just nodded vaguely. It would be awkward to explain why I had such high poison resistance. It would be too suspicious to suddenly say, I have L-rank poison resistance. Surprise! By the way, Yuhan, I saw this red cat-like thing over there. I slipped out of his embrace and asked. At my words, Yuhan looked toward the greenhouse. It's a flame-horned lion. A flame-horned lion? Yeah. Never heard of it? It was first discovered in an S-rank dungeon we cleared 2 months ago. We caught the cub hoping to use it as a mount. But it hasn't grown at all in these 2 months.
Well, of course it wouldn't grow. It can't mature without an adult. The tamer who helped us said there must be some special condition needed for it to grow, but we have no way of figuring it out. And as it is, it's useless, so we're planning to get rid of it. Get rid of it? Like auction it off? No, we'll have to kill it. We can't risk it growing under someone else's care. It would be especially problematic if one of the top 3 guilds got their hands on it. It was a cold statement. No matter how monstrous it is, wouldn't 2 months be enough time to form an attachment? And it's pretty cute, too. It's a shame. Can't I try raising it? Even as a cub, it's stronger than I am. It could be useful in an emergency. It'd be hard for you to raise. The food cost is no joke. How much? 1 C-rank magic stone per meal. 10 million won? Are you insane?
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.